We now live in an age where there exists somewhat of a consensus about what rights women deserve, even though all those rights are not respected at all times. But if you dare say something against that, you'll get your ass kicked for sure, at least through online. And a big dictionary of monstrous looking terms thrown at you that will scare the shit out of any man. And yes, even Shashi Tharoor. But agree to it or not, women's rights and the way they are treated in our society has improved to a great extent. And yes, in India too. And that has been possible because some brave women and men too have dared to challenge the society and its norms. But somehow they are always forgotten, and their lives get confined to the fat history books, the fat pages of our history books, and nobody gives a damn about them. But somehow these individuals who have actually contributed in making the society a better place for women need to be remembered, because only then can we proceed and progress further. And therefore, today we are going to talk about Dr. Rukmabai, who was one of India's first women doctors, along with Anandi Gopal Joshi and Kadambini Ganguly. So sit tight and watch this video till the end to know all about her. Okay, so women becoming a doctor in those times, in 1894 to be precise, is an achievement in itself, when most that girls could dream of was to get married to some kind of prince, and let alone cracking some ridiculously tough entrance. But when it comes to Rukmabai, there's much more to it. Rukmabai was 11 years old when she was married to Dadaji Bhikaji, her stepfather Sakharam Arjun's cousin. And it was decided that Dadaji Bhikaji would come and stay as their Ghar Jamai, all the while completing his education, and Rukmabai's family providing for him. Which he did initially, but after 1 year, he moved out to his uncle's home. And when Rukmabai supposedly reached her puberty, and for obvious reasons, he demanded that she come and live with him. And to this, Rukmabai refused, and she was supported by her father, her stepfather, that is Sakharam Arjun. And it was because of Sakharam Arjun, who was a physician himself and a social activist too, that Rukmabai got homeschooled. And when Sakharam Arjun also supported Rukmabai's decision to not leave her home, Dadaji Bhikaji filed a lawsuit against him. Initially, Justice Robert Hill Pinhey ruled in her favor. He said that since she was married in her helpless infancy, therefore she should not be forced to go and live with her husband. And this judgment drew a lot of criticism from the society. The criticisms were mainly claims that the judgment did not respect the sanctity of Hindu customs, and this started a debate in the society. On the one hand, there were periodicals publishing different forms of criticisms. For one, there was Native Opinion run by Vishwanath Mandlik, which supported Bhikaji. And there was also Pune Weekly run by Bal Gangadhar Tilak, where he said that Justice Hill Pinhey did not understand the spirit of our Hindu customs, and therefore he sought reforms by violent means. On the other hand, there were a string of articles written in the Times of India under the pseudonym of a Hindu girl, which created a lot of uproar because it actually supported the judgment. And later it was found that it was actually Rukmabai under the pseudonym of Hindu girl who had written those articles. Later in 1887, the case was tabled for a retrial. There, a judge, citing the Hindu Marriage Act, ordered Rukmabai to go and live with her husband, failing to do which she would face a 6-month sentence. To this, Rukmabai said that she would prefer facing jail time than going and living with her husband. And she even supposedly sent a letter to Queen Victoria asking for her help. It has been claimed that Queen Victoria intervened and overruled the judgment and dissolved the marriage. But there doesn't exist much evidence to support this claim. But nevertheless, the publicity and the debate arising from this case resulted in the enactment of the Age of Consent Act of 1891, whereby the age of consent was increased from 10 to 12 years old. So you might be thinking that a 12-year-old girl is still a child, right? But nevertheless, it was some progress from 10 to 12 years old. It was some progress, and some progress is better than no progress at all. Moreover, in 1888, a settlement was reached whereby Bhikaji relinquished his claims on Rukhmabai for a payment of rupees 2000. And in 1889, he remarried. And on the other hand, Rukhmabai went on to become one of India's first doctors, female doctors, and a widely renowned feminist. Then in 1894, she received the degree of Doctor of Medicine from London School of Medicine for Women. And in her journey of becoming one of India's first female doctors, a lot of people actually helped her, like Edith Peachy from the Kama Hospital, then Shivaji Rao Holkar, and many more different organizations and activists. In 1904, Dadaji Bhikaji passed away, and surprisingly, Rukhmabai decided that she'd start wearing white saris as per the traditions of Hindu widowhood. Now this I find very ironical. Actually not ironical, I find it difficult to understand as to why she decided that. On the one hand, she had fought her entire life for women's rights and for women empowerment. And on the other hand, she was following a custom that is kind of regressive and is oppressive towards women. Another thing I found very interesting is Bal Gangadhar Tilak's stance on the case. He said that Justice Hill Pinhe didn't understand the spirit of our Hindu customs. So I can understand where he was coming from. After all, I too believe in upholding our traditions and furthering our culture. But somehow I feel that in his quest to protect our culture, he lost sight of actually what is right and what is wrong. But that problem is actually very relevant even today. On one hand, we have people who are so very possessive of their culture and are willing to do anything to protect that. And on the other hand, there are people who speak very ill of the culture, our culture and the heritage that we have inherited from our ancestors. And I think that, the second is very bad, well, from my perspective. But I think we need to strike a balance between both these types of, thinking. Well, we need to uphold our traditions. We need to see that there is some meaning to it. We need to find the basis of our customs. All the while, we need to have this. We need to be able to differentiate between what is right and what is wrong, so that we may let go of all those regressive traditions and keep our traditions that actually are beautiful and are actually meaningful. So I'm very interested in knowing about what your opinion is about this matter, about the stance that Bal Gangadhar Tilak took. So please comment it down below. So if you found this video interesting, give this video a thumbs up and do not forget to share this with your friends. And I invite you to come join us in our journey where we explore what our history and our culture has in store for us. Therefore, do subscribe to our channel.